University. This is JMU Today.
Hello and welcome to JMU Today. I'm Gay Taylor.
And I'm Rick Berry. Thank you for joining us.
After 2 years of preparation, Harrisonburg's 911 emergency system is now fully activated. The service went online October 10th and is being funded by a monthly charge of 51 cents in residents' phone bills. The 911 system uses a computer database containing the name, address, and telephone number of each resident. When a call comes in, the location of that call appears on the dispatcher's computer screen at the Emergency Operations Center, or EOC.
Also appearing on the screen is a number corresponding to a system of maps of the area. These maps allow the responding rescue squad to find the location quickly. This is an important feature of the system in the event that a caller is unable to stay on the line during the emergency to give the dispatcher an address. In operation just slightly over a month, the 911 system has encountered only minor problems, mostly with telephone subscribers and not the system itself. The EOC continues efforts to educate residents about the system, and so far reaction has been positive. Previous polls predicted the '88 election outcome. Technically, George Bush and Dan Quayle were the victors by a landslide. The majority of voters supported Bush because of his standings on issues such as defense, crime, the economy, and his domestic and foreign policies. Much of this will be a continuation of Reagan's policies. Where Bush's administration may run into difficulty will be in his dealings with the majority-ruled Democratic Congress. According to the head of James Madison University's Political Science Department, Dr. William Nelson, Bush's cabinet positions will be filled with trusted associates that will have a positive effect on his administration.
Well, internationally, I think Bush will do well. He's experienced, he's known, and he's already, I think, made a wise decision in naming James Baker as Secretary of State. That will be well received, and I don't see any problems there. I think Bush's problems primarily will be domestic.
By overcoming many of his domestic difficulties with Congress, George Bush should serve as an efficient president that will hopefully alleviate the nation's present problems.
AERO held their East Central Regional Convention this past weekend at the Harrisonburg Sheraton. There were various workshops that JMU students and other students from schools in Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina could attend. There were many speakers also on hand, such as Coach Lefty Drizel from JMU, Joyce Tudoran from the International Television and Radio Society, and G. Richard Gainey from AERO's Executive Council. The weekend was quite a success, while JMU's chapter looks forward to the National Convention to be held in April in Las Vegas. Harrisonburg now has a new night spot for people with dancing feet. However, you have to be young to get in. Reporter Joran Hood takes a look at the brand new dance club, Vibes.
Vibes, located in the old Calhoun's building in downtown Court Square, is giving teens of Harrisonburg something to do. The club, which has been operating for 8 weeks, is open for those 17 and older on Wednesday and Thursday nights, and those 13 and older on Friday and Saturday nights. Patrons have the choice of purchasing a Vibes membership card, which is good for 4 years. Manager Steve Clark says his non-alcoholic club has been averaging about 600 people on Saturday nights. Clark also says that his club provides a successful alternative to peer pressures found in today's teen groups.
I think it's a good thing for the Harrisonburg. They were having a problem with the cruising ordinance and all that, and I think we pretty much wiped that right out. As far as the community, the parents, this is a great place for they can drop their kid off and feel safe about it. We haven't had any problems.
Rick, I think it's a great idea that Harrisonburg has created a club such as Vibes that gives young people a chance to get out.
I think it's a good thing that these young people can get out and start to socialize with other people their age without having to have their parents around.
It's true. Well, we'll be right back in just a few moments with a look at energy, so please stay with us.
I have a lot of commitments with my family and my job, so finding time to attend classes was very difficult. With Mind Extension University, I can view the courses at home when it's convenient for me.
Now that I'm retired, I'd really like to learn about the things that have always interested me, like science. But how do I do that without going back to school?
Trying to hold down a job and go to college was real difficult. But with the Mind Extension University, I can get ahead of the game.
I had a hard time understanding economics at college. Now I can study at my own pace. I can review a lesson more than once with my VCR, so I don't miss anything. The Mind Extension University is great.
Watch Mind Extension University Tuesday and Thursday afternoon on Channel 8.
You know, we're not saying don't watch the Washington news programs. They do a good job of covering the region. But they don't have the time or the resources to give Fairfax County the attention it deserves. We do. You know, there are only so many stories about Prince George's County and the district that Fairfax residents can watch before they want to know what's happening where I live. And that's where Channel 8 comes in.
The Fairfax Evening Report. We put Fairfax first.
Have you ever wondered what controls your body's physical energy needs? Gay Taylor takes a look at energy.
As disheartening as it may be for many college students to discover, mental activity such as studying requires very little energy. A body's basic energy needs are divided into 3 specific categories. The first category is basic metabolic needs, which are necessary for ongoing bodily processes. Secondly, physical needs are necessary for athletics and exercising. And finally, energy needs, which are generated from the ingestion of foods. There are many foods that can contribute to various energy levels, says JMU Professor of Nutrition, Dr. Patricia Brevard.
The best high-energy foods that a student could eat are high complex carbohydrate foods, such as the whole grain breads and cereals, starchy vegetables, and all fruits and vegetables.
Men and women need to eat the right foods, especially those high in iron. Iron is also an energy contributor. Iron can be found in meats, milk, cheese, green vegetables, and fruits. Vitamins are also a source contributing to various energy levels. Within the body, hormones also control the levels of energy. Due to the dismay of college students, candy and chocolates along with coffee are only energy boosters for a very short period of time.
Lack of energy can be attributed to many factors, but to ensure high levels of energy, you need not only to eat the right foods and get plenty of sleep, but exercise to make you feel better. For JMU Today, I'm Gay Taylor. Pollution of the nation's fresh water supply is a growing problem. Field producer Yvonne Elliott has this report.
Groundwater contamination. It affects most of the country's water supply. In Virginia, the top 5 sources of groundwater contamination are storage tanks, landfills, waste lagoons, septic tanks, and agricultural chemicals. The water becomes contaminated when waste products and other pollutants leak into the Earth's natural filtering system.
Agricultural contaminant can get in the groundwater either by soaking through the soil or by being washed there in a rainstorm into the rivers and streams.
In Rockingham County, the topography adds to the groundwater contamination problem. Limestone comprises a large portion of the county's soil. Very often, limestone rocks contain cracks and fissures that run deep into the ground. When surface water flows through these cracks, it carries with it many pollutants, which eventually get into the groundwater. Groundwater pollution is widespread, but its sources are centralized.
The problem with groundwater contamination is this: it's very site-specific, and generally the sources are extremely local.
Groundwater pollution varies in intensity. The slightest bacterial contamination often goes unnoticed, but petroleum is a more severe contaminant.
I've actually sampled wells, domestic water wells, where we actually pulled pure gasoline and kerosene heating oil out of these wells. I even took some of the gasoline home and used it in my lawnmower once.
Whether the contamination is simple or severe, the purification process is difficult and expensive.
A real quick and dirty cleanup, you might get by for $5,000 or $10,000. More than not, though, you're looking at many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
The expense of the process can't return the water to its original pure state because groundwater contamination is difficult, if not impossible, to clean up. The best protection is prevention. Stop the contaminants from entering at the source. To do this, the public has to be educated. Here's a few steps to help protect groundwater in your area. Become familiar with your local groundwater resources and know the common sources of contamination. Find out how your community disposes of waste products and become familiar with state programs and activities to protect groundwater. People have to think about the environment that surrounds them.
It's our children that are going to be the ones to receive a world that we give them. And it's what we do today that is going to affect tomorrow.
For JMU Today, I'm Yvonne Elliott.
A lot of students don't realize this now, but that Newman Lake is opened back up again for fishing.
After 2 years, the EPA levels of mercury are back down, and students can even fish again in Newman Lake.
I don't think they will too soon.
Neither do I.
What happens when Harrisonburg has an emergency? We'll be right back after this with a report.
Hi, let me tell you about this week's program on this station. I'm the host of the Weekend Gardener. My name is Jim Bennett. We've got a great show lined up for you this week. We're going to talk about Christmas trees and poinsettias and a lot of little gardening tips in between. How you can care for your poinsettia, how to harvest a Christmas tree, what to look for. Hey, you're going to hear about it all on the Weekend Gardener. So tune in this week on this station and get some good gardening and some good experience for Christmas.
He lives by a deadly code of honor. His burning rage has made him and his family outcasts. Now his son must choose to follow in his father's footsteps or become his own man. Bravo presents Tommy Lee Jones in a masterful adaptation of William Faulkner's classic story, Barn Burning.
Instead of predictable primetime programming,
some 89 hostages are being held.
Instead of make-believe heroes,
this is the moment that we've been waiting for.
Instead of the same old primetime song and dance,
farewell to the United States.
Switch to CNN's Prime News with Mary Alice Williams, Bernard Shaw, and Lou Waters. Live every weeknight at 8 Eastern. CNN's Prime News. Instead.
In the event of an emergency in Harrisonburg, there's a contingency plan to protect local residents and students. Field producer Tracy Neal reports.
It's a scene that's become all too familiar to many Washington Beltway commuters. Rows of stalled cars jammed together, awaiting the arrival of a hazmat team to evaluate the spilled cargo of an overturned truck. Nearly 10 times a month, D.C.'s emergency rescue units respond to several chemical accidents, each having the potential to seriously harm the population and environment. These all-too-common accidents are not limited to large cities nor to chemical transport. In Rockingham County alone, at least 16 facilities house or use what the EPA rates as extremely hazardous materials. The Central Shenandoah region has 4 main transports of toxic chemicals, including Route 33 and the Norfolk and Western Railroad. Officials say there is potential for disaster.
Interstate 81 probably is our greatest potential. The biggest reason is that it's hard to plan for anything specific. There's so many chemicals that go up and down the interstate. A lot of them we're aware of, a lot of them we aren't aware of, and it makes it extremely hard to plan for the situations that you don't even know are possible.
The state, which provides 5 regional response teams, recognizes potential and based a Level 3 squad in the Valley. Harrisonburg and Rockingham and Augusta counties make up the joint team. Their Level 3 training means the team is qualified to respond to the most serious of accidents. And although the squad has only worked together for a few months, members say they are prepared and ready.
I feel like that we have some real good people, and with the assistance of the state, we're updating our equipment supplies to a real high standard. I think the team is going to be an excellent team. We're working really well together now. And we always have the potential. Anytime you have an interstate or a train system running through your area, you've always got the potential. And with the industry using more and more chemicals being transported, it just stands to reason that your likelihood of an incident probably increases every day.
In exchange for state funds, area teams agreed to take part in over 300 hours of classroom and hands-on training, including the simulation of chemical spills. Instructors say that review is necessary to remain up to date and capable of handling any situation.
Most of what we've done today has already been done, maybe perhaps with different people and somewhat different, but it's a good refresher, it's a good review, and that's the thing it constantly takes is working with the equipment and working with the people and know what to do and when to do it, how to do it.
Of the many facilities that deal with hazardous products, one of the larger, more financially sound companies, Merck & Company, has developed an in-house response team of their own. And although it was created for use inside their facility, the 23-member Merck team now works in conjunction with the State Squad.
We thought it would be a benefit to the community to share the equipment with them. So we have entered in a cooperative agreement with the county that in the event outside of the plant, we will make it available.
Merck Chemical Company has a written mutual aid agreement with Rockingham County to provide them with coverage for hazardous materials incidents. And it's a beneficial situation. The county gets the advantage of that coverage. The Merck gets the ability to use that as a public relations type instrument, and it provides a very good service to the community.
Because Merck houses and uses extremely toxic chemicals on a daily basis, the company has taken other precautions to avoid a dangerous chemical accident. Their chemicals are stored in above-ground tanks and are monitored daily in hopes of preventing a serious accident. But taking precautions does not ensure safety or success. Under a requirement by the federal government and local emergency planning commission, individual cities must propose a detailed evacuation plan to the state for approval. One of the most populated areas in the city of Harrisonburg is the campus of James Madison University. City and university officials have proposed a similar evacuation plan, which includes the use of public and school transportation, all local media, and the city schools for shelter. The Emergency Planning Commission is currently working with Warner Cable in an attempt to upgrade the plan by including all cable stations in an emergency broadcast. Although the region has not dealt with a life-threatening chemical accident to date, team members hope that their precautions will help keep the community and environment safe. In Harrisonburg, Tracy Neal, JMU Today.
Rick, with as many trucks that travel up and down Interstate 81 every day, there's always the potential of a chemical spill happening right outside JMU.
Yeah, with what's been going on in the Capitol Beltway and on Route 95, you never know what's going to happen right outside your own backyard. It's a really smart plan to have.
Exactly. Well, we'll be back in just a few moments with Nicole Deskins, sports, and a live interview with Terrence Shepard, so please stay with us.
Sarah Milam, and welcome to Alumni Update. The chapters of the JMU Alumni Association are sponsoring a variety of programs to meet the interest of alumni and friends of the university. Two such programs will be sponsored by the Metro Washington chapter. On Wednesday, November 30th, they will host a reception at the Keybridge Marriott for the graduating classes of 1987 and 88. In some ways, this will be a mini reunion for classmates residing in the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, and a chance for us to welcome them to the Alumni Association, tell them more about the chapter, and hear their ideas concerning future programs. Reservations are $10 per person to be made through the JMU Alumni Office. Another event at the Keybridge Marriott is the JMU Career Connection. On January 5th, approximately 25 companies will gather to discuss employment opportunities and career planning with alumni as well as current students. Job hunting tips, resume writing, and continuing education will be highlighted. Also, in conjunction with the Metro Washington chapter, the Alumni Association is building a career network where alumni can identify career opportunities for students, future graduates, and other alumni. For more information on alumni activities, contact me at the Inez Roop House, JMU, Harrisonburg, Virginia, 22807, area code 703-568-6234. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Coach Kerry McClure, after being offered a graduate assistantship for JMU football in 1987, made a career change and became the first strength coach in the history of JMU sports. McClure works with the athletes himself instead of leaving the work to individual coaches. His job is entails writing experiences programs for the teams and supervising the workouts, testing the athletes' abilities and creating eating programs for the players, and working with athletes recovering from injuries. He emphasizes that strength training allows athletes to perform at a higher level as well as to help prevent injuries. Coach McClure looks at the athletes' needs and how weight training can help them improve in sports. And joining us here today is Terrence Shepard, standout JMU track and field sprinter. Terrence, you managed to make the transition from a high school level of competition successfully. You're now in your third year here at JMU, and you've managed to carry over your All-American honorable mentions into your college career. Did you ever imagine it'd be like this?
No, not really. The transition from high school athlete to college athlete wasn't really that hard because of the training that I had in high school. The coach that I had in high school was a really excellent coach. His name was Bill Goodman, and he is now the head coach at Maryland University. And besides that, there was a good group of guys coming in with me, Lawrence Smith, Desi Winters, and Kendall Curry, and we helped each other along. Besides that, the coach here was a lot better than I expected, and he works with us really well.
And Lawrence, Kendall, and Desi are also sprinters on the JMU track program, and they've managed to carry over their success from high school quite well, too. Terrence, you missed your shot at the Olympic trials this year. You missed your qualifying time by 1/10 of a second. That's such an insignificant time, but to miss that on your home track, that must have been quite a disappointment.
It definitely was a disappointment, but as the track saying goes, I sucked it up and continued on with my season, and it turned out pretty good.
And as you sucked it up, you did it quite well. You completed your season with wins in the IC4A championship meets. As you face that meet this year, what kind of attitude do you think your team will go in with?
Well, the team attitude definitely has to be different. I think the main thing we'll try to do is to keep a level head, because I've heard other athletes from other teams talk about how they're going to be gunning for us. So as long as we keep a level head and do the work now, we should have a pretty good season.
And a pretty good season I think you'll have. But you're talking about athletes gunning for your season. You've had Desi Winters, Dee Mans, and yourself with a shot at the Olympics this year. How did you feel watching Desi going to the Olympic Games when you trained with him all year long, and you can certainly match his times? How did you feel with him going on to the Olympics and you staying at home?
Well, it definitely wasn't a disappointment at all. Desi and I are friends, and we do a lot of training together. It was certainly fulfilling for me to watch Desi, a member of our track program, go on and compete in the Olympics in Seoul.
It was good to see somebody from JMU in the Olympics, Terrence, but why do you think it was that a lot of people here at JMU didn't know and still don't know that Desi, yourself, and Dee had a shot at the Olympic trial?
The major reason being, since track and field isn't a revenue sport, the athletes in our sport sometimes don't get the recognition that they deserve. Other revenue sports such as football and basketball, they will always get the recognition whether they have a good season or not.
And with the 88 Olympics out of your way and out of your mind, entering your 88-89 season of track and field here at JMU, what do you see as your major goal here this year?
My major goal is for me as well as my team to be a constant face on the NCAA level.
And I'm sure you will be a constant face on the NCAA level, Terrence. But the main question in people's minds right now has to be, will you continue to train for the 92 Olympics?
Well, the 92 Olympics are 4 years away, and I still have 2 years or more left here at JMU. My immediate goal is to graduate from JMU with a degree and go on to finish my next 2 years of eligibility here at JMU.
Well, Terrence, thank you for coming out and talking track to us this year. Tell us about some of the big meets we should be looking for.
For those who are interested in the JMU track program, we have a meet coming up on December the 8th. It's going to be held in the Convocation Center from 7 to 10. So all of those who are a little bit interested in our program, you can come and see what it's about. A major meet outdoors is the Pennsylvania Relays. We did real well in that last year. We placed third in the Championship of America division, and we hope to do just as well. Another meet we're looking forward to is the NCAAs, and that's in Provo, Utah.
Okay, Terrence, thank you for coming out and talking track to us this year. We wish you lots of success and luck in your 88-89 season. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
And many colleges have a fight song to psych up their crowd and rally their team on to victory. We thought it was about time to find out how many students here at JMU actually know their fight song.
Our fight song?
Yeah, our fight song.
No.
Have you ever heard it?
Nope.
I know it if I heard it, but I couldn't recite it to you. Wait a minute. Oh, laugh. All right, come on. Okay. Madison, James Madison, we are the Dukes of JMU. Madison, James Madison. That's all I know.
I like our fight song now. I do too. I guess maybe it should be in the football program or something so people can read along with it.
Madison, James Madison, we are the Dukes of JMU. Madison, James Madison, the fighting Dukes of JMU. Fight for honor, glory's won, and something, something, something.
I think it's important. Yeah. Especially if you go to UVA, everybody knows the fight song there. Everybody sings along on it. And I think it'd be really neat. James Madison got their stuff together and could sing it.
Madison, James Madison. Da 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 da. I don't know it. Madison, James Madison. Fighting Dukes of JMU. Do you know any of it? Like even a few? Have you been to a football game or anything?
Yeah. Well, we need the band. If we had the band here.
You had the band?
Yeah, we could probably do it.
Madison, James Madison. Show your colors. We are the Dukes of JMU. Madison, James Madison, we are the Dukes of JMU. Madison, James Madison, the Fighting Dukes of JMU. Fight for glory, honors won, brighten the lights of Madison. Madison, James Madison, show your colors proud and true. We are the Dukes of JMU.
Rick, we have a lot of interesting things coming up on next week's show.
Yeah, one important story that we're going to have is about DNA testing. And it's a very controversial issue in the court system right now as to whether to allow DNA tests in the courtroom as evidence, much like fingerprinting.
It is. And also, we're going to take a look at the Special Olympics since they'll be coming up in May at JMU.
Thank you very much for joining us this week. We hope to see you again next week.
Have a good week. Bye-bye.
So long.
These companies have provided their support to JMU Today. Pacific Data Images, specializing in animated graphics. Showalter Signs and Silk Screening in Luray, the neon sign company for the Shenandoah Valley. And Virginia Broadcasting's WVIR-TV, Channel 29, Charlottesville.